Welcome to the IAMCP Profiles in Partnership, the podcast that showcases how Microsoft partners and IAMCP members boost their business by collaborating with other members and partners. I'm your co-host, Anthony Carano, and in each episode, I'll be talking to some of the most innovative and successful partners in the Microsoft ecosystem. The International Association of Microsoft Channel Partners, otherwise known as IAMCP, is a community of Microsoft partners who help each other grow and thrive. Members can find and connect with other partners locally and globally and access exclusive resources and opportunities. Whether you're looking for new customers, new markets, or new solutions, IAMCP can help you achieve your goals. We'll hear their stories, learn from their experiences, and discover the best practices and strategies they use to increase customer loyalty and grow revenues. Whether you're a new partner or an established one, you'll find valuable insights and inspiration in this podcast. We hope you enjoy this podcast and find it useful. If you do, please subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to follow us on social media and connect with us on our website, www.profilesinpartnership.com, where you can find more information, resources, and opportunities to partner for success. Let me ask you a question. Do you know who your ideal partner is? And I don't mean your romantic partner, although that's important too. I mean your strategic vendor partner, the one who can complement your skills, expand your reach, and enhance your value proposition. Finding the right partner can be challenging, but can also be rewarding. In fact, according to a recent study by IDC, Microsoft partners who collaborate with other partners generate almost 2.5 times more revenue than those who don't. That's a huge difference, and it shows the power of partnering. So how do you find your ideal partner? How do you build trust and alignment? How do you leverage the Microsoft Partner Network and resources to support your partnership? And how do you measure and optimize your results? These are some of the questions we'll explore in this podcast with the help of our guests who are experts in partnering. They'll share their stories, challenges, and successes and give you practical tips and advice on how to partner for success. Are you ready to join us on this journey? Then stay tuned because we have a great show for you today. Our first guest is Eric Rabinowitz, the CEO of Nurture Marketing, a leading marketing technology partner who has achieved amazing results, such as the one in the story you're about to hear from his partnership with Nightstar Partners, a fellow IAMCP member. Let's hear what he has to say.
Well, first of all, I want to say this is absolutely my pleasure to be here today. Partnering is definitely one of the things that I love, and it's actually been a basis upon some of the successes that I've had. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. So when I talk about myself, the first thing I have to do is talk about my family, because that to me is the most important thing that I have. That's all the blessings is your family. I've been married for 43 years. I have 2 children. I have a daughter who lives outside of New Haven, Connecticut, and she's a sex therapist. And she has a husband named Trevor, and we have 2 grandchildren. One is 2 years old, Dara, and Eliza is just 2 months old. So it's just such a blessing. Yeah. Oh my God, it's just so fantastic having that. And you know what? It's exhausting. It is absolutely exhausting, but it's that exhausting thing that puts the smile on your face. So my second child lives in Los Angeles. His name is David, and David is a screenwriter and is actively writing for movies and hopefully television.
Now, Eric, Don't be too humble. I understand that he's actually an Oscar winner.
Oh my God. Yeah, well, yeah, he is. And the most surreal day in my life was when he won the Oscar.
Wow.
We were there with him. My wife was his +1 and I was in the balcony. And it was just absolutely amazing. And it's still 2018. He won his Oscar for Black Klansman. He was one of these screenwriters, right?
Yes.
So our favorite part of that movie is at the end where you see his name. But I also remember a little bit of a story with IMCP, because he was invited to come back to New Jersey, to our town, because this is our first Oscar winner in East Brunswick, New Jersey. Our first Oscar winner there. And he was invited to come, and it just happened to be an IMCP meeting that week that he was coming back. And I actually created a box for transporting not only his Oscar, but his BAFTA, which is like the British Academy Awards. So he took it on the plane. And by the way, it's the only time he's ever used it. And he literally brought it to an IMCP meeting at Microsoft's Islin office, which is now closed. And it was wonderful. Everybody from the Microsoft side came over. Everybody from, of course, we had 30 or 40 people at the IMCP meeting, and everybody took pictures with the Oscar. My son was like, no,
Nice.
Don't touch the Oscar. It was like, he didn't care. And everybody took pictures. And to this day, and it's like 6 years later, 5 years later, I'm still getting people who come to our meetings and say, how's your son doing? And it was just a fascinating time. And people, how often do you have a chance to hold an extra Oscar statue? Yeah, and everybody in our IMCP chapter that was there that day had that opportunity.
That's a great story, but it's a great movie, by the way. I mean,
oh, you liked it? Yeah.
I love that movie. I didn't realize it was a true story. And
it is.
And I know this little rabbit trail on this, but I actually graduated high school from Colorado Springs, so I'm watching this movie, and I was like, now it was way after when the time period when the movie occurred, but I was like, I had no idea that happened there in Colorado Springs. So.
And Ron Stallworth is a great guy. Great guy. He was at the Oscars also, and I met him at the premiere as well. He's just a really good guy, and he was so supportive. And Spike Lee was supportive also. People always comment to me, "Oh, Spike Lee dominated the acceptance speech." He didn't really. I mean, he did. But this was his chance to win an Oscar. And the boys, my son and his writing partner, Charlie Wachtel, they were all too pleased to give Spike his moment, because if it wasn't for Spike Lee, they probably would not have won the Oscar. And Spike Lee did add a lot to the screenplay, the beginning scene and the ending scene. The ending scene was certainly Spike Lee. So let me go a little bit more into my background. We got off on a little tangent there. I was just going to say, listen, we're talking about Ron Stallworth, Spike Lee, and now Eric Rabinowitz. So. Oh yeah. So it's not so. My background is in technology. Most people don't know I was a developer. I worked on Wall Street for many years. I started my career out at Citibank. And then I worked at an investment banking house, and it was a very interesting time, because I started out as a developer. I was writing options valuation programs, and so which was highly technical, and I was okay at that. Not incredible. There were a lot of people who were a lot better at that than I was, but I showed initiative, and I also was promoted to be sort of a team lead, and I sort of showed myself as being a pretty good team lead. About 2 years after I got my first promotion there, I was actually promoted at the age of 28 to vice president, and I was responsible for 70 people and about 35 different teams, 35 different people on teams. And it was the most exceptional type of experience you could ever imagine. And I'm going to tell you right now, I sucked at it. I was the worst because I had no experience in this area. I was never a leader before. And although it sort of goes back to what we talked about before, it was almost everything I learned about leadership was from the movies, which is completely wrong. I mean, you have to have experience. But I learned, like I said, I just learned so much. It was an incredible learning experience. I continued my career. I ended up working at a consulting firm where I created a help desk technical support, staffing and consulting practice. And then when I left that company, I'm sort of like Rudy in a lot of ways. I'm like a serial entrepreneur. I like to start different things, and it seems like that's the way my career has gone. And then I started, the help desk practice, and then after the help desk practice, I started nurture marketing with my mentor, my life mentor, James P. Cecil, who's the person who actually coined the term nurture marketing. My IAMCP, where I started with IAMCP, is probably around 2008, and I joined the New York chapter. And I switched to New Jersey when Lisa Irakis was the president. And then when Lisa Irakis handed off the reins to Jeffrey Goldstein, I became a member of the board. And I was in charge of events. And we did an incredible job. What Jeff and I used to do, and this is something that's like a perfect thing that I would recommend for all IMCP board members and presidents, we used to meet in August and plan the whole year's events before. So we used to actually plan every single month. We did not look at the speakers. If we thought of a speaker, we would write it down, of course. But our thing was that we knew enough people in the industry that would be willing to come and talk at the New Jersey chapter. And it was very, very successful. We had some unbelievable speakers. We had some duds also. But even the duds were a lot of fun. I mean, because, the New Jersey chapter, although New Jersey, you think of the beginning of The Sopranos, and we have a reputation of not being really very, very friendly. We are such a friendly group of people. We welcome people. We just love having guests come to our meetings, and it's just a wonderful thing. And then after Jeff became, I guess, the president of U.S., I became the president of the chapter. I served 2 years as president of the chapter, continuing on getting some great speakers. And then Tom Ireland is on his 4th year as president now. And he's really what we're going to be talking about today, our partnership with Tom Ireland. And that sort of gives you a clue to some of your future questions and how I'm going to answer those questions. But Tom is an amazing president and the intellectual. He's a Wharton graduate. He doesn't brag about that, but I do. So, that's not easy. Going to Wharton, he's worked for AT&T for years. He's retired from AT&T. And he's a wonderful writer. He's a wonderful president, and it's a pleasure for me to be on his board. And I'm the immediate past president. Matter of fact, as long as he remains president, I'm going to be the immediate past president. So I want to keep that role. I hope he's on for 10 years. No, it's not. I think he keeps on threatening that he's going to be the immediate past president. So that's a little bit about my career.
Yep.
IMCP, we do a lot of business with IMCP members, and members do business with me as well. It's all about what we're going to talk about in a couple of seconds.
That's excellent. I'll tell you, I know I've had, as the Austin chapter president, I've had some interaction with Tom. And Tom, he actually helped me when I was getting started as chapter president, spent some time with me, showed me some things. So my interactions with him have been fantastic. So definitely, if he, did what he, like just the help and the support for me in the Austin chapter, what he did here in this initiative, I can only imagine it's going to be just a rich story. But before we get there, I'd like to, one thing, Eric, is I didn't realize that you actually helped found Nurture. So could you briefly maybe just share a little bit about why you started the company?
Well, I started the company because I was part of a CEO group many, many years back called TEC, the executive committee. It's called Vistage now, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So Vistage, it was called TEC. And Jim Cecil was a guest speaker. And the way they have it is the first half of the day you have a guest speaker, and the second half you talk about issues that are important to you and your company. So Jim Cecil was a guest speaker, and I had just started IHS Support Solutions, and I was doing about $250,000 worth of business, and we were struggling. And I met with Jim after. It was a wonderful conversation that we had, and we hired Jim. And Jim had this concept that he created called nurture marketing, and I went with Jim, and when I separated from IHS, Jim said, "Why don't we create a company together?" And so that was it. It was, imagine being able to take one of the people in business that you respect more than anybody, and that person asks you to join him as a partner in a company. It was one of the highlights of my life. And Jim and I went all over the country talking about nurture. He did most of the talking. I did some of the training and stuff around it. But that's how we created nurture marketing. And it was just something that was within me. And I had the opportunity working now. Unfortunately, Jim has passed, but it's funny, when anything happens in our company, I go back to our legacy. And I said, our company is based upon somebody who created the concept that everybody's talking about right now, and that's nurture marketing. Mm-hmm. And we should be proud of that legacy. So some people get a little tired about it within our company. It's like, Eric, you're not going to talk about Jim again. I said, I am the CEO and founder of this company. I am going to talk about it. So, and I do that, and people understand. I said, there's a lot of folks who don't work for companies that have somebody who created a whole genre, and we do. And I wrote a book with him and stuff, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so on that note, what's interesting about this is we're featuring, interviewing various, IMCP partners, on this podcast as they came together for a technology, solutions. But your guys' background and areas of specialization is a little bit different. So tell us about, Nurture's area of specialization.
Oh, that's a great question. And so I'm going to actually surprise you a little bit, because we've sort of changed a little bit based upon what our clients have been asking us. So for years, we were a digital marketing agency. And but over the years, we developed a specialty in marketing support technology. And I know that's does not exist, and it's something we're trying to come to grips with at Nurture Marketing. We're trying to come to grips with it. But what that is developing technology solutions that support marketing initiatives at our clients. Who are our clients? Our clients are technology companies, usually large technology companies, that sell through a channel and their channel partners. But for these large technology companies, and for some of these folks that are their partners, we've developed technology. And let me give you an example. The first example is what we're going to talk about more. And so I'm not going to go into a whole bunch, which is the Explorer, large technology company that we developed it for, but it's a technology solution that facilitates the marketing of this client's products and services. So it's actually IT. So I'm actually going back to my past a little bit and utilizing my IT type of experience. Now, I can't code C++. Give me a COBOL program, give me a Fortran program, a PL1 program, I'm in. DBase 3 even, I'm in also. That does not exist. I think COBOL does exist in a way right now. But that's not me. So we depend on our partners, that Nightstar Partners, which is our partner here that we're talking about today, to actually do the development. But that's for the Explorer. But we've done something that we call Nurture Gold Rush, which is also an IT application. What we've done is we've taken intent data and we've trended it from several sources. We have a data scientist that works for us from several sources, and we've created an intent score. And that's all based upon behavior that people are actually showing on the internet, specific interest in topics that our clients are either selling products or services to. And so what we've done, and we've used Power BI, which is our user interface. And we trended over weeks, and it's being used by clients in order to take a look and to actually figure out where they should be putting their sales resources, because these are people who are showing actual behavior of interest. So that's good. That's great. We also have developed something called active graphics. So we all know what graphics that you see with charts and stuff like that, right? What we've done is we've taken those graphics and we've made them come alive. You can actually hover over the graphic and it'll come out with information that is specific about what you're hovering over. We can do text. We can also do video. We can also do audio. So it's almost like, and the way I got this idea was I've gone to museums, and I went to a museum and I went to an exhibit that was exactly like this. It was an infographic, what we would call an infographic, and you sort of point to the different areas, and based upon where you're pointing, something would come alive and engage. So we've done that, and that takes that's a very unique skill, because you need to use Adobe, and you need to have Adobe programmers to be able to do it, and they're few and far between. So that is also something that we've done. And we also have started to use variable data. So what's that? Is we can actually, and this is all IT applications, but if it goes right into the marketing technology. So what that does is very simply, we can take let's say an infographic again, or we can take a PDF, a one-page PDF, or multiple PDFs, and even videos, and we can plug in our clients' information, like their logo, contact information, and even get down to specific information about the different, we can actually change what's in on an active basis, what's in the infographic. So it's a way that we can do that. Instead of doing one infographic at a time, we can do hundreds and even thousands. We've never done thousands, so I'm not even going to say that, but the theory is there that you can do thousands of these. It's just amazing. And of course, our core is as a digital marketing agency, we're working a lot with creating content. We have a really big data practice. Gold Rush is what we took and augmented our data practice, but we still sell data. We have our own, what we call our data lake. Plus we have several third-party providers that our data scientist takes and consolidates data, and that's how we can give data scores or intent scores based on behavior, not from one source, but from multiple sources.
Tell us a little bit about specifically where I know where you and Nightstar, collaborated in creating this, solution, for a customer. Tell us a little bit about you don't have to get into the client's name, but specifically just, the client size, industry, what were some of the challenges they were facing?
I don't think they're a $1 trillion company for market cap yet. Some of the big guys that are out there, like Microsoft, for instance, has an amazing market cap, but they're pretty darn close to $1 billion company, and they're into technology. They're into mostly hardware and software, and they supply this technology to data centers, large and small. So that's what they do. You probably can guess who they are, but I can't say who they are. And as you mentioned. So their challenge was to get into the SMB marketplace. And that was the whole reason they came to us. We have this experience in the SMB marketplace, and they came to us and they said it's an underserved marketplace for them. and we have an idea for two applications, an explorer and a configurator, or what we call a selector now. And later on, they went ahead because they want to go with the explorer first, and still we have the configurator sort of in the background. So it was all to create this market penetration into the SMB marketplace, which they saw as an incredible opportunity and very much underserved.
So I know at the beginning, we talked a little bit, we were about with Tom and with Nightstar. But there's obviously a little bit of an interesting background there, because I don't think initially they were your vendor, your partner of choice. So maybe share a little bit about how you decided to eventually kind of go with them. What were some of the criteria you were looking for?
So there's one reason, and one reason only, we went with Nightstar. It's trust. And that's what IAMCP is all about. I trusted Tom and Nightstar Partners to do the right thing for us. And I'm going to tell you, they came to bat like MVPs in the World Series, hitting Grand Slam home runs all over the place. They were, and continue to be, absolutely incredible. So let me take another step back. We went with another company. And the reason we went with this other company, which is not an IMCP member, was that about 5 years back, they did an application for us, this other company, that was sort of a questionnaire type of application, and then came out with a kind of a cool report at the end, which we said, oh my God, that's the same thing that we're working with here. It's, so this should be an easy jump for this other company. And so we went and talked to them, and they said, yeah, we'd be willing to do it. And we went with them because to us, it was just a logical thing. They had, the previous application was, from time to time, you develop for clients where you develop something and everybody likes it, but then everything changes at the company and it's not put into production. All right. And this is the case for that thing that we did 5 years ago. So it was never put into production. Not really. So we went to them and they developed the application, and they soon discovered that maybe they underbid it tremendously, and they were taking a whole bunch of shortcuts. Frankly, it's my belief, I could be wrong, but that they used AI to develop a bunch of it, and that it really wasn't working. And we found that later on, that what they gave us was compiled code when they delivered it to us. So it made it almost impossible for Nightstar Partners to come in and make changes. You can't make changes to compiled code. I did that in Y2K. I know a lot of folks weren't born then, but that was, a lot of it was had to go to Y2, and Y2K is to deal with compiled code, and you had to decompile it. There's something called decompiling. So it was, it turned out that they became extremely not interested in working with us anymore. And we were between a rock and a hard place. And we delivered the first level, but then that was only the beginning. Those folks, like a lot of the folks that are listening to this, and I'm talking as a developer, know that development has a continual life cycle. There's a roadmap to development. You develop the first iteration, and there's going to be multiple iterations. All right, they have no wanting to be, to developing anything about multiple iterations of this stuff. It just wasn't something. And so I started at that point to look for another vendor, and the first person I spoke to was Tom, and Tom was saying, yeah, we can do this stuff. And he had me talk with his team, Nilanjan and Amit, two folks out of India, which was fantastic because not only we were getting fair pricing, but it was also, something that we could and our client could afford. And we give that over to our client, of course. And the first issue was we had something that we had to deliver in 2 weeks. And it was like, oh my God. And Tom, who's doing a lot of work with IAMCP also, he has a lot of clients as well as a lot of clients also. He just took his whole team and he put it on this. And we didn't even talk about money. It was like we just got it done. And he got it done in a way that was wonderful. And the way he dealt with my team was just fantastic. He was always, and the way he made sure that if we needed the technical people talking, that was fantastic also. He was able to talk the same language of development. So to answer your question, it was really the fact that I can trust him, and that trust was proven time and time again.
So what you're sharing is just kind of, there's a springboard of a lot of the questions coming to mind. One of the ones, obviously, you had to change partners during the engagement. You mentioned about having like 2 weeks to kind of deliver. Can you maybe expound upon some of those other challenges during the engagement? And then in addition to maybe what you just shared, how did you and Nightstar work together to overcome those?
Okay, well, the first thing was that we got the compiled code, and that was not good enough. So I had to go back to the previous company, and I had to make a case for getting the compiled code. And what they did was Nightstar did some things that were just amazing. They did coding around the compiled code that got us a little bit of the way. But then we started to get more and more intricate requirements. And as we got those we learned that the compiled code would not do it. So that was one of the challenges, and Nightstar went in. Also, as because I have my IT background, I know that when you're dealing with clients, they want things as quickly as possible. And that was also a challenge. And not only in the first iteration, but also in future types of parts of the project. We needed to get stuff done. And the client would frequently come to me and say, we're having an issue with HubSpot's integration. Because the way the product worked is that we created a URL that gets embedded in the SMB's website. All right? So there's all sorts of environments out there. I mean, we all know that. And so there's times when you're putting it in and it's not working. And so we had to troubleshoot that. So to be able to go in and troubleshoot it was very important. Also, the fact that I was able to talk and my team was able to talk with the developers. A lot of times it's the account manager that handles all this. And Tom would be considered account manager. But sometimes it's very helpful to get stuff done and get stuff done quickly to actually talk with the actual developers. And since I was a developer, they've told me multiple times how it's really good, the fact that I understand, because there are times, as you know, something to a user can seem like a very, very simple type of change. But when you get down to it and you need to change the code, it's much more complex. It's much more complex. And being that it's much more complex, you have to be able to explain to the client, this is not something that's going to take 10 minutes, and this is not something that's going to cost $5. It's going to take longer, and it's going to take more. And that working hand in hand with Nightstar Partners was there. Also, there were always challenges in terms of the types of development that we needed to do. One of the latest pieces that we did was we took what amounts to be, and this is something the client came up with. So at the end of the product, after answering a whole bunch of questions and getting a neat little report, the form would come up and say, enter your information. How many people you think actually entered information? Raise your hand if you say 0. And right now we have about 35 clients worldwide that are using this. So, and I don't know exactly because we're working on Tom is working on a measurement tool for us. But we've got none of that. So the client came back to us and said, okay, can you change the tool so the form is before we give the results of the survey that we're doing, the questions that we did. So it's the responsiveness. I hope I answered your question.
No. So that actually leads to, so you mentioned you've got you said 35 clients now utilizing this.
35 partners.
What a part, that's fantastic. What, I don't know if maybe you want to answer this in the aggregate or maybe, highlight a couple of specifics, but based upon that, what type of results are they getting as the customers of this, this joint effort between you and Nightstar? What are they experiencing?
Okay. So there's a couple of things. Like I said before, we're still working on the metrics. Mm-hmm. What we're finding is that there's, from the partner's point of view, they're very pleased with the way it's going, and they love the way the product works. We're also in the process of putting a self-service onboarding tool in place. Matter of fact, it's the API we created, meaning Nightstar Partners created, is going to be delivered on Monday. And what that's all about, it's going to be able to be within a marketplace that the client has, and people will be able to click on it. And there are over 800 of this client's partners, which, by the way, is a strategic partner of Microsoft. I didn't mention that before, but I should mention it now. They're a strategic partner of Microsoft. And so they're going to be able, over 800 partners are going to be able to utilize this product. So what we're getting is, anecdotally, we're getting a really, really, really good results, but I can't be specific because I don't have specific data. And it's something that it's part of our roadmap and is actually has not been approved yet, but it's probably going to be approved in the next quarter. So I could actually come back here and actually tell you the actual numbers. But from the partner point of view, we're getting only positive, because we always ask that.
Good.
I said, how do the partners like this? They love it. And I think what people are using it as is what ifs, because I love playing with the tool also. I go in and I put in what ifs and see what pops up, and it's like a lot of fun. It tells me what I need to buy. It tells me what is good and what is about to expire. It tells me all those things, but then it's up to me, the client, to actually go back to the partner and say, I want to buy it. That's why we've moved the form up in the process, and like I said, that has not been implemented yet, but it's being part of that's being delivered, and by the end of the month that should be implemented.
So as an experience, you're a veteran, like in technology, in the Microsoft, ecosystem, experience, like obviously with partnering and with IAMCP. What's one thing that you say you've learned that from just this experience, like in partnering with Nightstar, that's enabled, nurture marketing to improve?
This is a very, very good question, because of Nightstar Partners and their responsiveness, whenever I get a request from the client, I answer with 3 words. 4 words. I am on it. That's what I say. I said, I'm on it. I actually don't put the AM there. I just say, I'm on it. And then I go right back to Nightstar and I say, and right away, we come back within a few days. I'm able to actually give that information to the client, and the client loves when I say, this is when we're going to come back. Mm-hmm. And I actually come back. Even if it's 5 days, they don't mind. They hate when you say, I'm going to come back tomorrow, it's 2 weeks later. That's something. And also another thing, so that's one thing. To be able to say I'm on it is is one thing. And this is another piece that I want to talk about is over communicating. So over communicating is so important. People tend to under communicate these days. Almost everybody I know, they don't communicate enough because they feel that they need more information to give a complete story to the client about what is going on. And I disagree with that 1,000%. I think what you need to do is you need to over communicate. You need to say, this is what's happening, and this is what's happening at this point. When you get new information, or even if you don't have new information, you ought to be communicating with a client extremely often. And the clients love that. They love that. They're friendly. And it's just a positive thing. So being able to say, I'm on it right away, respond the second you get it. You haven't even read the email, but you say, I'm on it, right?
I'm on it.
Then you get back and you say, I am now, and then you get back with your partner, Nightstar Partners in this case. You go out and you say, and then you get back and you say, it's going to take me a couple of days. And then maybe you add a little bit. And then you write the client back again and say it's going to be, I'll have something for you Thursday. And sure enough, Thursday you're able to, to deliver deliver what the client has asked for in terms of, maybe in terms of an SOW, statement of work, and sort of, and that includes, the time frame and the pricing and all that other good stuff.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. Great advice. So in addition to a lot of the insights that you've given, as I think about like in closing, if you could maybe summarize it maybe in like, 2 to 3, key points of like, what advice would you give to companies and IMCP partners, regarding partnership? So I know you mentioned like, I'm on it. You talked about over communicating. What would be, one more nugget you have there for us, Eric?
Yeah, well, I'm going to give a nugget now. Partnering is hard, and it doesn't always work. All right? I have more bad experiences with partnering than I have good experiencing. So my one nugget that I'm going to give is partnering needs to be a two-way street. It has to benefit both partners. I have a pet peeve. I have a bunch of pet peeves, but a big pet peeve is people who come to me who want to sell me something, and they said, we want to be your partner. No, you don't want to be my partner. You want me to be, you are a vendor of mine, and I am your vendee. That's all. You're not looking for partnership. You want to sell me something. Maybe it's good stuff. And I'm not saying it's not good stuff, but it's not a partnership. Partnerships have to be both ways. It has to be work for both. And if it doesn't work for both, it's just not going to last a very long time. You want to have that thing that, you want to have that partnership that lasts a long time. Also, you want to have, I know I'm adding a fourth, you want to be honest with your partner also. You want to be absolutely honest with them. And if there's something to talk about, you need to talk about. We had one of those conversations today I had with Tom. I'm not going to go into specifics, but it was where our client might have misunderstood something that was sent to them. And I went, and Tom gave me a call and he said, okay. And he understood. I said, and it was actually something that Eric Franson, who is an incredible partner, my partner in business, he came up with. He's a lot more sensitive to some things that a client might think than I am. And, I consider myself sensitive for a lot of things, but this is something I didn't pick up on. So I called Tom and we spoke about it and we corrected it. We corrected it right away. And it wasn't major. Matter of fact, I don't even think the client realized that maybe if you read between the lines, there was a little bit of aggression there, or an aggressive type thing. But we talked it out for 5 minutes. Then we got the team on. We talked about it for another 10 minutes. We wrote an email together, and it was beautiful. So just this ability, and to work with each other, to trust each other, to trust we're all doing for the right thing. Also, it's all about IMCP. I need to give kudos to the IMCP. I would never have met Nightstar Partners. I would have not met a half a dozen other companies that we've worked with if it wasn't for IMCP. Rudy being, a past president of the U.S., helped build it and made it into a very, very special organization. So kudos to you, Rudy, and the international president also. I don't want to miss that. Kudos to you and to the fine work that IMCP does. The one thing I don't understand about IMCP is why there aren't a lot more members. Everybody. One of the things that when we go into an IMCP meeting, that is, and we have an incredible speaker, and we have 30 to 40 people that are there, and maybe there's another 15, 20 people that are listening in. I always say to myself, this would have been beneficial to a lot larger group of people. They would have enjoyed this amazingly. And why? Why don't we have more members? And it's a tough nut to crack. I've tried to crack it. Tom is trying to crack it. I know. The U.S. board is trying. International's trying to crack it. But it's something that we can't give up on. We have to keep on trying to expand this organization and get more members because, a lot of us are doing business with each other. There's a lot of money to be had between the partners.
Well, I think that by, sharing the stories on platforms like this with profiles and partnership and building that, it'll help share the story, which, validates the value proposition behind becoming a member of IMCP. So that's we're looking forward to helping expand that membership through sharing great stories like yours with the larger tech audience. So
yeah, you did it here. Thank you so much. This is great.
Eric,
Thank you.
This was fantastic. I know it's they don't give out Oscars for podcast interviews, but if I could, I'd put you up there with Spike Lee, man. That was awesome. Anyway, we really appreciate it. And just as we kind of wrap up our time together, where can folks find you, find more about this solution? You want to just kind of share something?
Yeah. So I can be found at Eric R. at nurturemarketing.com, and it's nurture with an R. Many people leave the R out. We are not neuter marketing. That's my funny statement. We're not neuter marketing. We're nurture marketing. And my telephone number is 732-421-2670. And our website is nurturemarketing.com. And
excellent.
Check us out. We're great. And I love working with IMCP members. And I love working with Microsoft partners. They're fantastic folks, very talented.
Excellent, Eric. Well, until next time, we really appreciate having you. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Wow, that was a great episode, and really appreciate Eric for making time for us today. Rudy, what was your main takeaway from the episode?
Well, I have lots of great insights into Eric Rabinowitz now, but I really enjoyed his thoughts on what partnership was all about, especially the trust relationship that you can build by being a member of the IAMCP. That's one of the things that we teach in how to partner with other partners, and building that trust relationship and getting to know your partner is one of the great pillars of building your business. As he mentioned in his speech, it was really partnering is hard, and yes, it can be, but when you work at it, it will help you grow your business, and that's what we want all our members to know about being a member of IAMCP. So, Anthony, what did you take away from Eric's presentation?
Yeah, similar point. I know when he was talking about the partnership, partnering can be hard. But specifically when he really emphasized there was two things. One, that you have a partner to where then if you get a request from a customer, your response can be I'm on it. I love that. But also the point that was driven home about that partnering goes both ways, and it has to benefit both partners as they're co-creating value, for the customer, and just even the willingness that, in their situation, they had to adjust midstream to ensure that there was going to be a superior solution, for their customer. And so that really hit home for me.
Both of you guys did an outstanding job on this podcast. I want to thank everyone who has joined us for this episode on IAMCP Profiles in Partnership, powered by Dunamis Marketing. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and find it useful and inspiring. If you did, please subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. One of the best ways to partner for success is to join IAMCP, a community of Microsoft partners who help each other grow and thrive. IAMCP members can find and connect with other partners locally and globally and access exclusive resources and opportunities. Whether you're looking for new customers, new markets, or new solutions, IAMCP can help you achieve your goals. To learn more, visit the website iamcp.org.